Hey everybody, it's Lenora from It's the New Dawn. How's everybody doing? I am really excited today. This is going to be a health and wellness, either a tidbit or a whole show. I don't know. I'll decide how long the actual podcast goes. And I am sitting with Mariah Brown. And Mariah Brown is a Yale trained certified nurse midwife, MSN, with her undergraduate in marketing. She has been attending births for 20 years, managed women's health clinics in Hawaii and Oregon for 13 years, taught at the Chinese Medicine Group College on the big island of Hawaii. I would love to go to Hawaii sometime, and is in the process of getting her certification through the Institute of Functional Medicine. She has a deep appreciation and respect for food as medicine, amen, and now practices online as a women's health coach with her 8-week program to help women move from exhausted to energized, balance their hormones, and feel turned on by their life, their lover, and themselves. I love that. She is the co-creator and co-founder of Beyond the Red Tent. I don't know what that is, but I want to find out. She also has owned a virtual nutrition franchise for 13 years. She is a mom of 3 young children, 8 years old and younger, and a wife to an amazing personal trainer and physical therapist with heart. So I'm excited about this talk because you're like a soul sister. I love it.
Automatically, I think we just understand one another.
It's great. All right. I am turning the camera over to you, Mariah. Take it away.
Yeah. So gosh, that's just, I could talk about anything I want. I could talk about what I had breakfast for breakfast. No, so listen, here's the deal. What I say is right now, like I said, I've been working with women. It's now been just about 21 years, and it started out in a very different path in my 20s, and had one of those life-changing moments where my best friend from high school asked me to be at her birth, and the stars aligned, the tears came, and I just knew that I had a calling. And fast forward all these years, it's been spectacular to see how it twists and turned and played out in my life. I got to do some work in West Africa and heading up international health projects in Nicaragua and Haiti. And like I said, I lived in Hawaii on the Big Island for 8 years. And so got to teach at the Chinese Medicine College. And what I realized is that no matter in what capacity I've been working, no matter the socioeconomic status of women, no matter their age, there's 3 general things that I feel like I hear from women over and over again. And that's either that there's some version of I'm tired. There's some version of I feel like my hormones are out of balance and I can't get answers. And there's some version of my libido is gone. And libido for me, yes, there's a sexual aspect of it, but it's really, I don't feel turned on by my life. I feel like there's a veil between me and happiness and joy, right? And so along the journey, I was running women's health in clinics, and I also was running Beyond the Red Tent, which I would love to talk a little bit about.
Of course.
And it just felt like in the midst of trying to do my craft as a women's health provider, there were 2 things that were really apparent. Number one was that I didn't feel like I had the full capacity to really have the impact that I wanted to have, because I was constrained to 20 to 40 minute visits and in my geography. And it felt like I could give women solutions and like, here's a fish. This is going to make you feel better. Not prescriptions. The nurses would always laugh if Mariah prescribed, because it's not really that's not how I operate. Like, people, we can transform our lives with diet, lifestyle, mindset modification. But I never felt like I had the time or energy to teach women why what I was suggesting was working. Mm-hmm. And I was constrained to the walls of and the town where I lived. And so all of a sudden it was like, no, okay, how can I do this where I can reach women anywhere in the world, and I can have the time with them that I can not only help the transformation take place from a more functional medicine perspective, but also have the time to help them understand why. So that way, a year down the road, 5 years down the road, if some new version of a women's health thing comes up, they go, oh, I know what I can change. I know some things that I can eat. I know some new ways that I can think. I understand how the hormones are surging from my body and what's happening physiologically. And I feel empowered to transform my own well-being and talk with my daughters, my friends, my aunties. And so that was that's how Beyond the Red Tent was birthed. Anyway, let me stop there. Any questions?
Oh, no, I'm, how do you think about when you were talking, I'm listening to you. I actually want to touch upon what you think about do no harm to your patients. Did you actually ever feel like you knew you weren't doing the best that you could for their health, giving them the traditional way of healing through doctors with medications and things like that?
Yeah.
That was my problem working as a nurse out in the field.
Yeah.
Was giving meds, knowing what I do know about nutrition and the foundation.
Right.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I think I was lucky because no one else was telling me how to practice. It wasn't that I was working in the capacity of an RN having to do the things that the provider was asking me to do. I was the provider in the scenario.
I hear you.
Mm-hmm. I feel like most, it's been 13 years. There's very few moments where I can say, I think I did what allopathic mainstream medicine wanted me to do rather than what I really thought was best. And, there were patients that they didn't come to me because they knew that I wasn't going to be prescribing for them.
Exactly, the quick fix or the pill or,
yeah.
And it's not their fault because that's the way it is, just give me a pill. Just give me a pill. Just make me better.
And I talk to other providers that feel this sense of responsibility, like almost like, well, I have to give the patients what they want. Otherwise, they're going to go somewhere else and I'll lose their quote unquote business. And I just feel like, well, that doesn't serve them. In me doing no harm, I work with women in particular who are ready for change and ready for self-responsibility. And so they knew that if they were going to come to me, my approach was going to be, all right, here's where we start with the food that you're going to change. And it's going to be a predominantly plant-based diet. That doesn't mean you can't eat meat. I'm not going to say that. I think meat has its role for sure. But let's make sure half your plate is produce, and let's make sure you're getting every color every day. And let's talk about ways to do that and increase your hydration and make sure your fiber is great. And let's talk about your bowels. Let's talk about from the perspective of hormone balancing, especially when I was running the women's health at the functional medicine practice. The functional medicine approach is if your hormones are out of whack, let's say your estrogen and your progesterone are tanking, the allopathic approach is, well, let's just prescribe you hormone replacement therapy. And the functional medicine approach is, well, wait a minute, let's heal the gut. Let's give the adrenals some love.
That's what I wanted to talk to you about.
Yeah.
The gut, heart, brain connection, health. Yeah. That's so huge. So I want to hear your perspective about it. You told me you were going to talk about the red tent.
Sure.
I want to hear about that. And I want to hear about, you can take your own path here, but I'd love to hear about your 8-week program, Beyond the Red Tent.
Yep.
What you think about gut, brain, and heart connection. So huge. So
yeah. Okay. So first, so the 8-week program was birthed. With the 8-week program, I say that I help women move from exhausted to energized, balance their hormones, and feel turned on by their life, their lover, and themselves. And so it's an 8-week deep dive. Some of it's pre-recorded modules. There's unlimited one-on-one, what I call help tickets with me. I have a nutrition coach that works alongside, and she's giving really hand-holding with specific recipes and meal plans, and sometimes integrating some herbs or some homeopathy or maybe some flower essences. And then we have live group calls. And so that kind of ties into Beyond the Red Tent. So the live group calls piece. So
and in the scheme of things, 8 weeks is not a long time at all.
It's not at all.
But do you feel like you got to really prep those women for the 8? Because I'm sure you get, oh my God, 8 weeks. That's such a long time. Do you get that at all?
I don't. I haven't yet. I feel like The women that work with me are
ready when they come.
They're really hungry for change. I don't actually offer up a spot in my course for just anyone. The only way that they can even be considered is we do what's called a breakthrough call, where we sit down for an hour and I get to talk with them about what's not working, what have you tried, and really, are you committed to change? Because I'm vetting them just as much as they're vetting me. And I have to feel like they're hungry and they're going to put the time and energy in, and that I feel like I can really create some transformation in their lives. And I have to feel like they'll be the right fit for the current group dynamic. And 8 weeks, you're right, is nothing. When we're talking about lifestyle change, the 8 weeks is just the foundation, just the beginning of the foundation. And it's not some get rich quick. It's not some detox quickly. I'm going to heal it all. It's here's the foundation. Now, hopefully this creates a new lifestyle for the next 5 to 10 years. So then I do have a continuation program that some women end up enrolling in. And then now we break it down into 6-month chunks where it's elongated. So
we also change and evolve. So, there has to be a tweak and change up what they're eating or whatever.
Yeah. So, and thinking, I want to talk about Beyond the Red 10. I want to talk about this gut heart brain connection.
Yes.
Because first of all, the gut, listen, we are only 10% human cells, right? We are 90% our microbiome. So the gut is our second brain. It is a powerful place to be absorbing the nutrients from the food that we're eating. If you're out spending tons of cash on lovely organic produce and spending all the time to sprout your own things and eat so well, but your gut is not actually absorbing the nutrients, we've got a problem, my friend, right? If you are not having normal, regular bowel movements at least every day, we've got a problem, my friend. We need to help you actually detoxify the gunk out of your body. And I believe that the mindset piece, the energy behind how we think, is probably 80 to 90% of the scenario.
I just got the chills because I am all about that. It's not everything. Yeah. It's your mind. What you think and what you say is what happens.
Yeah. And I see so many women.
Powerful.
Yeah. I see so many women. It's gotten to the point where it's like, they're anxious, but then I want to use the word obsession. That's kind of harsh. The constant angst around, am I eating the right thing? And my Everlywell test, I'm allergic to green peppers, so I shouldn't be eating green peppers. And then, well, what do I should eat there? And this provider said this, and this like pinball machine of.
Well, to be fair though, Mariah, there's so much information out there.
There's so much.
And that's like with my clients, I'm an RN holistic health coach. I do mostly the nutritional counseling piece, although I have done personal training and all of that. But there's just so much information. They're so confused. And I don't blame them. It's so hard. Yeah. And I also talk about being stressed out about too much of a good thing. Like, you got to do yoga, you got to meditate, go out in nature. And all these are great things. You got to eat healthy, you got to drink your water, but I say, like, take your little goals still, even with all the good stuff, and then incorporate them, because that could cause fight or flight, just trying to fit in all the good, quote unquote, good stuff.
Absolutely. And there's a gazillion experts out there. And even just walking down the aisle in a grocery store, this is all natural, this is all organic. How does anybody make choices? And so if we help hone in on the mindset perspective of what are my belief systems around this thing? And do I feel solid within my own container of me? And do I feel centered? And do I do my affirmations and my work and look myself in the mirror and say the things that I'm proud of and celebrate my wins? And all of that will be infused into deflating that little bit, that lot of anxiety that ends up showing up in all different areas of women's lives. And so, yes, the gut heart brain connection is big. And then it's to the adrenals, particularly for women, right? Because women, we go, 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 we do. We spend most of our existence in our heads, and we're perpetually doing for others. And you think about that fight, flight, or freeze response. It comes from so many different things. It can be coming from, like Brene Brown talks about, in the moments of ecstasy and deep love, we will dress rehearse tragedy. And that moment where I'm putting my child to sleep and tucking her in and thinking how my heart's just going to burst with love. And then in that split second, I'll think of, well, what if something, this is Brene Brown's example. She'll go, what if something horrible happens tomorrow? Like, why do we do that? And in that split second, that little thought is actually the adrenals are going, oh, spike some cortisol. Okay. What's going on? Fight, flight, or freeze. You are stuck in traffic. You're looking at your checking account and you don't know if you're going to have enough money to pay the bills. You have a bad dream. You watch the news that's on in the background. You leave your house. And nowadays, there's the fear of, am I going to be accepted? There's political unrest. Am I wearing a mask? Am I going to get COVID? Is this person going to have the vaccine? I don't want the vaccine. I have to have the vaccine. All this spinning is creating a fight, flight, or freeze response, not to mention the food that we're eating, the air we're drinking, the water we're drinking. I mean, the air we're breathing, the water we're drinking. And the physiological response in the body is exactly the same no matter the stimuli, as though I'm being chased by a lion. And when so fight, flight, or freeze turns on, now our adrenals that are helping to regulate our hormones and helping keep our thyroid healthy. When you're in fight, flight, or freeze, guess what happens? Gut turns off. You don't need to be digesting food if you're running from a lion. Immune system shuts off. If somebody sneezes on you with COVID while you're running from a lion, body says, I'll deal with that later. Right now, I'm in survival. Hormone production shuts off. I talk about stress or bless. If the body is in a stress response, it's not going to worry about the bless hormones, because it's in survival.
I like the way you said that. Stress or bless.
Stress or bless. So then we address our gut health, and we also need to address our adrenal health, particularly for women who are postpartum, in perimenopause or menopause, because it's the adrenals that are taking over.
I'm a big advocate of, I teach restorative yoga mainly, and yin, but mainly restorative. And I told you I live in a log home, and they would come here before COVID. Would come here. I'd take 4 to 5 people. We built the yoga studio out of like the logs outside. The energy is beautiful. And I have been practicing yoga since I'm 39, and I evolved. I did hot yoga, vinyasa, hatha, all the yoga. And then as I get older, became a nurse at 47. While my kids, I have 5 kids within 8 years, and they were, talk about fight or flight. I just don't know how I ever made it through. You just don't even think. But went through school and realized I was always in fight or flight when I was working, and I have a hearing disability, and it was, I had to be always on. Yep. Always on. You always have to be on anyway when you're a nurse, but more because I was afraid I was going to not hear something. And I decided to go into this holistic way of treating people, but yoga was a big part of it. But I decided to go into I got certified in restorative yoga, and the elements are warm, quiet, dark, still, safe. So we bring down that nervous system. Where I talk about it. I don't talk that much in the practice, but those elements are going to bring down, you're going to get into the parasympathetic nervous system. And this is like when a nurse will give a patient a pill to bring down the nervous system in order for them to heal. So they're not in that fight or flight and agitated. That's what restorative yoga does. So I preach this type of yoga because the people that came here, it's like putting gas in the tank every week. They got it. People don't get it because you're in a pose. Are you familiar with restorative yoga?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're in a pose for about 10 minutes or even longer.
Yep.
So you're not doing anything, quote unquote, but it's the art of doing nothing. So when I got trained in this, I'm so type A that as I'm getting my certification for it, I'm like, I don't care if I lose the money. I would be in this pose, and you have to be still. You're not doing anything. You're being still. So you're very introspective. And then you are getting in touch with the sensations of your body, which we're very disconnected, most of us, especially if you've been abused. I've been abused. And listening to the sound and the depth of your breath. It's such a connection. And I would be in that pose and I'd be like, oh my God, in my head, I should be shopping. I should be doing this. I should be this. And that's the whole reason why we practice it. So this has been a lifesaver for me, the restorative yoga. I bring it up because it's all about bringing the nervous system down. And it's just as important as working out in the gym or running, or, you know what I'm saying?
Totally. So, yeah, there's two things that it makes me think of. What I heard you say was, dark, safe, quiet. There was one other thing. You used 4 words. What were they?
Warm, quiet, warm, dark, safe, quiet. Still.
Yeah. So I'm a midwife.
Yeah.
I've attended hundreds and hundreds of births in hospitals and home and birthing centers and all over the world.
I'm envious of you. That's beautiful.
But the thing is you look at animals in the wild, you look at women in having a natural labor experience. That's exactly what is needed for the body to feel safe and calm and produce that natural oxytocin so that labor is smooth. That's what we're trying to create here. And my husband always says one of my mottos is just midwife it, but it's like a lot of what we need to settle into ourselves and hold our ground and be in a surrender and trusting place is to find that restorative yoga sense within us in our practice, but also out in the world. And the other thing I would add is tapping. I don't know if you do any EFT.
Tapping. I don't practice it, but I believe in it.
Yeah. So kind of same idea.
You can talk about that if you want. I mean,
well, it's just the depolarization of the contrast, right? So helping that nervous system calm down. And so if you're just out in the world, even if it's just simply, I feel stressed, but I'm safe. Even though I feel really anxious, I'm safe and I know that I love and unconditionally accept myself. And it's just something that simple. But anyway, I'm glad that you shared that. Thank you. Because it really is important. Really what women.
It's so important to me because you look around and I'm not one of them. I guess when I look at the quote unquote, the normal people out there, although I don't feel with all my meditation and yoga and Reiki and all the things that I'm passionate about, I look around and I almost feel sorry for people because they're walking around in a cloud. It's just, they're not in that space of beauty and quiet and because I know I was on that side for so long.
Yeah.
And
just to acknowledge that lots of women are going, I don't have time for that. I mean, many of us are living really full, very productive, very busy lives. And so I just want to say out loud that it's the somatic experience. We have to get out of our heads and into our body. And even if it's just in 5-minute segments, like, yes, if you could do an hour and a half restorative yoga class a few times a week, phenomenal. Every day, amazing.
yeah, for sure. I couldn't fit it in either.
Yeah, fit in those little 5-minute, get my practice, right? My practice of grounding into my body, feeling my butt on the chair, my feet on the earth. For me, I have 3 kids. They're 8, 6, and 3. So, and I run 3 businesses. So life is full. It's productive, but I get them all in their car seats and that walk around the car for me to get into my spot. That's my trigger where I have, even if it's 30 seconds, that's my practice. I get out of my head, I take a deep breath, and then I sit in my chair. And when I put my seatbelt on, that's my trigger where I zone out whatever's happening in their yelling and arguing or asking for things, whatever it may be, singing songs. And I just ground into my body and I get into my breath. And sometimes I just put my hand on my heart.
Love it.
And so for all of us, if we can find that, research shows that if you can just, it's 12 minutes a day, 6 days a week for 8 weeks. And those 12 minutes a day can be in 1-minute segments. So if you just set an alarm every hour, you're just going to do 60 seconds of into your body grounding. Research has shown that it changes brain activity, brain imaging to decrease the chance of anxiety, depression, shift people's mindset to being more hopeful, joyous, right? Practice can show up in little bits throughout the day.
I love that. Do you ever ground to the earth? Do you ever take your shoes off and put your feet into the ground and just feel the energy of the earth through your body?
Absolutely. Yes, yeah. And I don't like cold.
Wait, where are you? You're in California?
I'm in Oregon.
Oregon, I'm sorry. Oregon. Okay.
But yes, barefoot walking is so powerful. I mean, just
well, I'm in Jersey and I've got outside my window here, I probably have about 18 inches of snow out there.
So do you barefoot walk in the snow?
No, I do not. No, I do not. No, but what I do tell my clients, like, I love your little increments. I love all of that. And that's pretty much what I'll say to them. It's like I run in the morning, but I do not recommend running for people. That it's just because I like it. And I know how to run. I enjoy it. How many times have you ever passed anybody running and they got that look of disgust because they think that they have to run because that's good cardio or whatever? I just like it. What I do suggest to them is to get out in nature somehow and start with 5 minutes. And if you're not a meditator, don't go with earbuds. Leave your earbuds home. Listen to the sound of the birds, the trees, the sound of your feet walking, hitting the gravel on that to me is meditation. That connecting with nature.
Yeah.
If 5 minutes, and then what usually happens after 5 minutes is, wow, this is really nice. So I go a little longer. So
look up Shinrin Yoku. Shinrin Yoku. It's a Japanese practice. It translates as forest bathing. And so one of the things that I teach women about in the modules around adrenal health is barefoot walking and Shinrin Yoku, this practice of allowing the forest bathing. It's valuable. And oh, by the way, if you have your barefoot feet on the grass, you're actually being able to absorb the magnesium from the earth too. I mean, we're absorbing.
Yes, I did a whole TikTok on it. I don't know if you know TikTok, but that was one of my videos. I took my shoes off, had my feet just grounded into the earth, rocking on the grass. Didn't explain it that way, but feeling that energy that's coming from the mud, the earth, the grass. I just love it. Yeah, just love it.
So yes, there's a lot of value in deep foundational shift in gut health, adrenal health, liver health, thyroid health, and hormone health. And I think there's lots of women out there starving for transformation. And so it's fun. It's fun to do the work to help them along this journey, incorporating a lot of what we've talked about, plus more. We brought up Beyond the Red Tent, and I didn't mention what that is.
Yeah. I was looking at my notes. That was our next.
So Beyond the Red Tent. So once again, here I am working as a women's health provider, and obviously women come in and I'm talking to them about their miscarriages, and in some scenarios their abortions or their experience of menopause and vaginal dryness and hot flashes and feeling really just in despair and surprised and lost. And one of the big things I felt like I kept hearing was there's been a loss of a safe container of women talking with women across generational lines. I have this vision of what the red tent might have been historically, where women would bleed together, birth together, and age together. And the grandmothers and mothers and aunties and daughters and granddaughters in the same space are talking with one another about feminine chapters of transition and experiences. And somehow I feel like our culture has cut that off a bit. And so I was finding that women were coming in feeling really confused by stuff that for me felt very normal physiologically. And it feels like things that all women should know about. Should is a strong word. What I would like for all women to know about. And so Beyond the Red Tent, it was initially just like this 2-weekend thing. A friend and I said, well, let's all bring in some women's health experts from all around the world and a bunch of women that will just share their stories about endometriosis and cystic acne and irregular periods and fibroids and vaginal dryness. I don't, and within 3 weeks, it had grown to 8,000 women, or maybe it's 6. Wow. It grew really fast. Wow. And we looked at each other and we went, wow, first of all, this is a lot of fun. I feel like I'm totally in my zone of genius. And there's a need out there to have this safe container where women are sharing stories and there's experts conveying solutions that are diet and lifestyle in nature.
Love that.
And so now we're up to 14,000 women, and there's an online platform, there's a Facebook group, and then we have an online membership. And so really in that, my main job is I vet experts and I vet products and I bring them to the women. And then there's a space for women to share and support one another. And
wow, I love that.
That's what Beyond the Red Tent is.
I love that because I do 5 pillars of Lenora, for good health and wellness. And one of the pillars is support and community, for achieving good health and wellness. My foundation is always nutrition. And then, that goes and flowers out to your fitness and then good sleep and all of the other community and support. Huge, especially with the pandemic and people not being able to have the physical touch and actual presence of people. So these kind of communities are so important. That's why, like I said, TikTok, I keep bringing it up because a lot of my guests were from TikTok in the beginning. And I had joined that community when COVID happened and formed a lot of friendships. And a lot of people came on telling their story, how they overcame adversities. And TikTok has been their form of support. So it's been a really nice tool. So this community that for women, how wonderful that is. We need that. Women need it. Plus, do you feel like women come to you and feel like, well, isn't this just supposed to happen? How many times I've heard that so many times. Well, well, it's about my back is supposed to hurt, or my stomach is supposed to be, no. No, I don't believe that. I believe that I'm gonna fight this for as long as I can because I feel better at 56 than I ever had in my life. So
no, I just because it's common doesn't mean it's normal.
Right. That's good. Yeah.
And one of your comment around this kind of feeling of isolation and lack of touch, it's so important. I mean, we really have to, I really need women and people that are listening this to hear. As a species, we are communal. We need touch. And we're living in a time right now where that's very limited. And so I encourage for vagus nerve care to
talk about the vagus nerve, because a lot of people are not going to know what that means.
So let's just say for your nervous system, for your overall well-being, for your ability to feel safe and calm and centered, and for your thinking to be focused, and for your emotions to feel stable. Okay. A couple things to do. Literally give yourself a hug. We need hugs. Occasionally just wrap your arms around yourself. It's amazing. I'm doing it right now for those that can't see us.
Me too. Right now. I love that.
And I feel it in my heart. I feel this calming, and it's crazy. Nobody else is touching me, but just give yourself a hug every once in a while. The other thing is lay on your back with your bum up against a wall and your feet up.
Oh, so I talk about that. Yeah, legs up the wall.
Yeah, so at a 90-degree angle. And just rest. If that's your 60 seconds of practice, get into that.
Just an FYI, that's one of the most That is one of the main poses I do in the restorative yoga. I do 4 main ones, and legs up the wall is one of them. And that's one of the most grounding poses and most nurturing poses you can do.
Yep. So grounding, stillness, and sleep. It's so crazy, but really, that's really what women need more of. And if you're struggling with sleep, maybe because of perimenopause or because of anxiety, well, let's address that, but we need sleep.
Plus, that could be definitely from your nutrition foundation.
Absolutely. And people might not like me to say this, but I really encourage us all to get caffeine out of the body. Take it out. That's so overwhelming that I say take it out for just like 10 days a month. There's got to be a chunk of time every month.
Mariah, I understand. I do. I really do. I get it. But you know what? I'm gonna laugh because I train one person out of my house now. That's it, because I love her. And I go, and there's a little health store right near her house. I tried to do the least, with COVID and everything, but it's a little health food store. I'll go in there and I'll grind up my organic coffee beans. They're organic coffee beans, and I do it right there. That is something I do not like. What is it called? I don't skimp on. I always get organic, but I gave up coffee for, I want to say 2 years. I gave it up. So it's not, I don't need more stimulation. I am type A. I don't need that, but I love the feel. Now this is bone broth, but I love the feel of the cup in my hand and the coffee in the morning. Yes. And I get what you're saying, Mariah.
And you're not necessarily coming to me with all sorts of symptoms of not feeling well. For women who are having symptoms of not feeling well, and they're needing some real gut healing, they're needing their adrenal system to calm down, they're needing their thyroid and the liver to have some healing, coffee is wreaking havoc on all of that. And so what I have them do instead, which I have right here, my hot beverage.
Just an FYI though, I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yes.
I'm just saying. What do you have in your mug? Tell me.
I encourage women to do adaptogen elixir recipes, and you can make an adaptogen elixir that tastes like coffee, and you're still having the experience of your hot beverage.
Like with like a mushroom.
Well, you can do dandy blend. Yes, you can do like a Four Sigmatic, a mud water, Rasa tea, depending on what flavors you like. So I work with women, helping them create that quote unquote coffee substitute that still tastes yummy. It's their hot beverage. It's the routine of making it in the morning, but it's fueling them and serving them, rather than, for most individuals, coffee is wreaking havoc on your adrenals and your gut.
I agree with you. And it's about forming new habits. It's about, it's just a crossing the day off the calendar, another day, but there's no easy way to get around it. If you're addicted to coffee, like a lot of people are, it's building a new habit.
If you think that you need coffee for energy, or if you're one of those people that needs coffee in order to have a bowel movement, that does not count as a bowel movement in my world. Okay.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
I don't think so either. I agree with you with that too.
The other thing I was thinking, and we're just going to keep talking. I don't know if there's a limit to how long we talk, but.
Well, I try not to go over an hour because people just don't have any attention span, but we're only at 40 minutes.
Your comment around running. Yes. I wanted to, because here's the deal. The two things that I say about that is, one, if all of a sudden you put on your running shoes and you go running, the body goes, okay, why am I running? Where's the wildebeest, right? So there is this piece of, if you're already in adrenal exhaustion, adrenal fatigue, maybe running is not the best option. And there's the yes, and if you love it and it brings those endorphins and you're doing it out in nature, that has value too. the piece that I teach women about is how to exercise based on where you are in your menstrual cycle. And if you're no longer bleeding, then where you are in your moon cycle. And the time to do a run, the time to do weights, the time to do that high endurance exercise is in your ovulatory phase.
Okay.
And the time to do.
Now, you did hear me though. You did hear me that I didn't recommend running to people. It's that I do enjoy it. If I didn't enjoy it,
yes,
I wouldn't be out there running. Believe me.
Yes.
So,
and you feel amazing. There's nothing to change. If you were someone who came to me because you were feeling exhausted, you were having a horrible experience with menopause, you'd lost your libido, you were tired, you were exhausted, you were depressed, you were anxious, whatever it may be, you were constipated, whatever it might be, and you loved running, then we would figure out the right time in the month to fit in running.
Oh, interesting.
Allow your body movement to be mirroring. I think of it like 4 seasons in the year. In Hawaii, I didn't have seasons, but now I have seasons. And it's, you run in the summertime, okay? In the wintertime, your bleeding time, that's not really a time to run. That's the time that you really do your restorative yoga. Yes.
Yes, like a bear, right?
Yes, by the fireplace with a hot cup of tea.
If you think about it, it definitely makes sense, right? It definitely makes sense. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to share before you can share some last words of wisdom for our audience?
I think, the only thing, and I think this was infused into what we were talking about, is there's this libido piece. And that's
huge.
It's big.
That's huge. We should never lose that.
No. And to remind women that libido, it has its different versions based on what chapter of life that we're in. And so much of it comes back to, are we feeling inspired by who we are and how we're living our lives and what we're doing for work and how we're connecting with other individuals, as well as acknowledging that our erogenous zone is our entire body and foreplay is all day long. And if you're in a heterosexual relationship, generally speaking, the way that men and women are turned on is very, very different. And so I say to women, what you're turned on by now could very likely be totally different than what it was 10 years ago, 5 years ago, yesterday, a month ago. We are cyclical, ever-changing beings. And to really, I think sometimes I'm so grateful to look at the change in women out in the workforce. And here I am being a mom and also running businesses and an entrepreneur and making sure that I'm not expecting myself to fit into the quote unquote masculine 9-to-5 model, but to know that just like I'm going to do a run or lift weights during my ovulatory phase, that's also the time where I'll put on my calendar that I'm going to be engaging in more creative endeavors in my work, and I'm going to be out socializing more. Whereas when I'm in my bleeding time, it's a little bit more introspective. It's a little bit more quiet. I'm not going to make a team meeting with all my staff during that time of the month, because it's not really the time that we want to be out in the world socializing with everyone.
It makes perfect sense.
That ties back to the libido. And if you're suffering from vaginal dryness and vaginal pain, then heal your gut and heal your adrenals. And guess what? The juiciness comes back.
I love that. That's a great place to end this. I'm gonna have all your information in the show notes. Do you want to tell people where they can get you? And I'll have the information also in the show notes. Thank you so much.
So marayabrown.com, and Mariah is M-A-R-A-Y-A, Mariah. So marayabrown.com. While you're there, you're welcome to grab my free adaptogen elixir recipes. Please make those and drink them. And if you're feeling like you're ready for transformation, then you can click on Get Started and book a breakthrough call. I do ask that if you book that call, you're really serious about transformation. This is not just quick, here's a supplement and go on your way. And if you book that call, that you show up. So I'll give you an hour of my time, and I promise I'll give you some breakthrough and point you in the direction of solutions. I might offer up a spot to work with me. I might not. It's all good. Through Beyond the Red Tent and vetting experts around the world, I promise I will point you in the direction of an expert that feels like aligns with what it is that you're longing for. And then Beyond the Red Tent, if you're in the Facebook world, just join Beyond the Red Tent. You can also go to beyondtheredtent.com. We have a weekly newsletter that goes out that's educational in nature, women's health topics, mind, body, and spirit. And you can sign up for our newsletter. It gets emailed out every Monday. And I think that's it.
You have an IG? I'll have that too.
Oh yeah. So Instagram is _Mariah Brown _. I'm not on TikTok yet. Not even in the LinkedIn world.
Listen, you should be on TikTok. Well, actually now the big thing is Clubhouse.
Yes, I've heard many people suggest Clubhouse.
I just started on last Saturday, and let me tell you, a lot of connections, a lot of support, a lot of good stuff there.
Yes.
And only iPhones can join now, although that's going to change very soon. But I'm gonna say, get on Clubhouse now.
So for me personally, in my realm of doing my practice and staying out of fight, flight, or freeze, part of it is not overloading my social media time. We don't own a television.
You're right about that too.
I keep my screen time very limited. And so at this point, my course is always filled. And a lot of it is referrals and testimonials, because women have transformational experiences and inevitably they talk about it with others. And at some point I will branch out.
No, I agree with you though, Mariah, because I had to kind of weave my way back off the TikTok and get it, because for me, my whole direction changed with COVID. So my motto was I put the personal in personal training, because that's what I was doing one-on-one in my log home here. And I wasn't looking to become rich or anything like that, because it was just something I love to do with my heart. I taught yoga, nutritional counseling, one-on-one on my couch in my den, and my personal training in my gym. I have half of the gym, a small, beautiful gym, and then a curtain, and then my yoga studio. That's what I was doing. So of course that all changed with COVID. And so I had to figure out what the heck I was going to do. So now the online is everything, and I'm not really experienced with the online stuff. So TikTok was like, okay, I can do something with anybody from all over the world with nutritional counseling. I was doing Zoom yoga classes, and there are some on my YouTube channel, but it's not the same. I'm very tactile. It wasn't the same with me, but for you're probably perfectly fine what you're doing. So I would say, don't go on any of them. And it is true. I'm trying to wean my way off of some of that stuff, because I am addicted to my phone. I admit it. It's not good.
Well, phone addictions, it's a dopamine hit for sure. They're real.
But it's not good. It's not. It's really not. I'm saying for people who need to make their connections, who need to want to do something with their business collaborations or whatever. And now I'm on a podcast right after this. I'm a guest. I got that from Clubhouse. The guy saw me on there and was like what he saw.
And the reality is we're in a time where we need to get a little bit creative and think outside the box, because life is very different than it was a year ago, and how we act, integrate with others, and generate income for many has to shift. And I think the big thing is for women to give ourselves permission to set boundaries too.
Love that.
And we do not do our best or serve others the best when we are drained.
Learn to say no, ladies.
Learn to say no. Give yourself permission. Oh my gosh. If you want to Google Leonie Dawson on it's Goddess You Have Permission. Oh my God, it's beautiful.
I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is.
She's an author. And you can read it. You can also, she's recorded herself reading it. And it's all around for women, just to give ourselves permission to say no, set boundaries, put on our own oxygen mask first. It's so cliche, but it's really true.
Oh my God, I got the chills. You know how many times I've heard that in the past 3 days? Because I'm all about saying no. I'm all about saying no, because I've learned for my health, being selfish to be selfless is so important. And I'm the most maybe that's not the right phrase, but I'm the most selfish person there is, because I cannot give to my grandkids, my kids, my husband, my clients, unless and I got a lot of stuff I got to do to be off medication. I'm not saying that anything bad about medication if you need it, but for me to be sane, I've got to do my yoga. I've got to do my exercise. I got to be in the gym. I got to do my meditation. I got to eat really good food. So I choose to spend my money on food as my foundation. If you're not getting high quality food, then you need to look at what you're spending your money on. I agree. Well, and a lot of people can't afford it, but then you go down the line, say, what's the next best thing? But if you look at what you're spending your money on, maybe you can not have so much on your TV. Maybe you can, I don't know, not buy that fur coat or whatever. So you say, I don't like jewelry. I'm not into fancy anything. I'd rather spend that money on my food because I enjoy it.
I always say to women, if you think wellness is expensive, try on the cost of illness.
Yes.
It is worth the investment in ourselves, in our time, and in our overall wellness, to work with a coach. And here's, if you're listening and you're going, yes, but I don't know how, find a coach like one of us, or there's a bazillion experts out there. Choose one that resonates with you and stick with that one for a chunk of time, 3, 6, 9, 12 months. Stick with the same thing. Don't jump. And have some hand holding, have some accountability, and figure out how to work within your budget, within your time constraints, to get on the new track, to get on the new path. Because it is true, you put high octane food in your body and you get your gut firing well, so that your body's absorbing the food that you're eating, and your experience in your body, your mind, your spirit, your emotional being, your spiritual being is going to transform.
And this is what it is supposed to be like, ladies, for sure. We are a proof of that, you and I.
And I will say, I love me some earrings.
No, you're beautiful.
I'm not a makeup girl.
No.
But I will give you some earrings.
No, you're beautiful. I just choose, that's really my choice. Is like, I'm not swimming in money, but that's okay. I am very grateful. My grateful is in the morning. A lot of the time is I'm grateful that I can afford good food for my body.
Well, it's that you prioritize spending on good food,
right? And I don't feel like it's never been about me, the jewelry or the fancy stuff. I mean, if I like that, and then I'm like, oh, I gotta give that up because I gotta get the food, then that causes issues also. No, it's never been a big deal for me.
Yeah.
So you just got to get your priorities straight.
Absolutely.
So just hang out for a second.
Yep.
So you guys, I did not say this in the beginning, but if you would support me, I would greatly appreciate it. Appreciate. Oh my God. Appreciate it. Anyway, all my links are below as usual. So if you want to be on the show, you can reach me. My Google number, my website is below. I talk about the Roar Bar. The Roar Bar is, I am an ambassador. They do not sponsor me, but I am an affiliate, an ambassador. Check them out. They give 10% of their net proceeds to feed the hungry children worldwide. They are vegan, but they fit every diet. Their protein is 18 to 22 grams a bar. You can read the ingredients on the label. It's the only packaged good I eat. All organic ingredients, and they're just really good people. Use Lenny, capital L, Lenny, number 5 for 5% off. And on that note, thank you so much for joining me. I so appreciate it. It's been a wonderful talk. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.